Hello and welcome to Rational Magic. Jumping into a Korea draft, best of one today. I'll probably jump into Premier Draft Dominaria later in the day. It is a pretty amazing set. Pretty excited to get back to that one. Hello. Thanks for joining me. 1,500 gems. I got a nice stockpile of 40k gems here as my backup draft supply. A little bit weird doing a live recording and a live stream simultaneously and with no volume. I have a flickering light in front of me. Tends to do that before it warms up, so the color may be kind of in and out right now. Alright, opening draft. 9 lives, 3 mana hexproof. If a source would deal damage to you, prevent that damage. Okay, so every time you take damage, you put a counter on it, and once you have 9 counters, you lose the game. So this is kind of to extend your life total by 9 instances of damage. I've seen people play this on turn 3, which is absolutely ridiculous. Whenever Falcon Adapter attacks, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying that's tapped and attacking. I like that a lot. I haven't actually gotten to play with this card yet, but this is pretty strong. Waker of Waves, 7 mana, 7/7. Creatures your opponents control get -1 power. For 2 mana, you can discard it, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand. This is an amazing recursion card that also enables itself because it can discard. Man. So Waker of the Waves is pretty high up in my pick order. Got a few other powerful spells. Feat of Resistance is always good. Capture Sphere is a fairly high pickup. Shock, especially in this draft, is especially important. Okay, so we pick up at 9 live. Get past a Liliana. This is kind of a difficult card to make work in draft. Face Feathers, just a 4 mana, gain 4 life removal spell is pretty good. Kind of between that and the Falcon Adept. Carrion Grub, Enforcer, Daybreak Charger, +3 power and attacks. Gloomsower, Pride Malkin is pretty good. Rise Again can be quite good. I like the Falconer a little bit, maybe a little bit more than Face Feathers. It is very tempting to pick up a Liliana. But it's a symmetrical card, so the payoffs aren't quite as good. Playing in the limited environment. Carrion Grub bins to your graveyard. Sanctum gives you 1 mana each turn. Revitalize, gain life. Rousing Reed is probably the best common, one of the best cards actually in blue. Blue-white is a bit of a strange archetype. Not one I necessarily want to be in. Grasp of Darkness is very good, but it has a very strict mana cost to it. And Drowsing Pteranodon is a top tier card, but I think Rousing Reed, the only card competing with that here is probably the Grasp of Darkness. But being in double black is quite painful early in the draft. You don't really want to commit to black that hard. But I'll take this card. 9 lives is semi-playable. Whenever you drop low in health, you just kind of slap it down for an extra 9 hits. 4 mana 3/2 Flyer. Enters battlefield, target creature gains flying. It's pretty solid. Rambunctious Mutt is a good body attached to enchantment removal, which can be important. There are some pretty powerful enchantments in the set. And there's really nothing else exciting in this pack. Celestial Enforcer is fine. I do have a lot of flyers already. But it does require you to have other creatures on the board before you can start tapping things. So I'll just take the 4-drop flyer. And see if we can make this blue-white thing work. Anima is a bit of a miss. Cage Zombie, Sanguine Indulgence is pretty good if you have consistent life gain. Discounting this by 3 mana to resurrect 2 cards, put them back in your hand, can be quite good. Cauldron is also a pretty decent spell. The Indulging Patrician is good if you end up in these colors. And I think for the sake of power level, I'll just take the Patrician and then We may not end up splashing black, but at least I have this option. And the Indulgence and Witch's Cauldron are probably the two next best, which are already in black. And we get past to Faith's Fetters. Faith's Fetters. It's pretty awkward to say. Just pretty good. Turret Ogre, very strong card in red. Nice combat trick on Sure Strike, +3 power, and First Strike. Blue-white land is actually very tempting, but I wouldn't take it over what is just a solid removal spell. So pretty good card quality, just lacking early drops. I like the Alpine Watchdog quite a lot, and it's actually a really nice target for things like Rousing Reed because it retains Vigilance. So this becomes a 3/3 flyer in the air when you target it with Rousing Reed. And I'm pretty happy just to pick up the early game. Again, Sagweed Indulgence is a pretty solid card, as is the dual land here, but can't ask for much more than the 2/2 Vigilance. So 2 of these being passed really indicates the colors are open. This might be a white-black splash-blue deck, which is not one of the strong archetypes in the set, but it's definitely something you can do. So whenever you, beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, each opponent loses 3 life. It's a 1/4 flying lifelink. So cards like Blood Glutton become quite a bit better, stacking 2 of these. So it does look like I'm going to attempt to build a black-white life gain deck. If blue doesn't end up being as open as I would like it to, 2-mana 2/1 flash is actually fine. Radiant Fountain gains you 2 life, but if I'm in 2 to 3 colors, I don't think I want to be stretching my mana base that thin. So double Enforcer already is a pretty solid control plan. Tome Anima can't block or be blocked as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. Not something I can consistently pull off. Run Afoul is just a very good 1-mana kill spell for flyers. Destroy target artifact. Creatures with flying can't block this turn. Oop. Yeah, I am certainly here. So Silent Dart, I'll probably never include in the deck, but it's fine to pick up. Speaker of the Heavens. Vigilance, lifelink, 1/1, tap, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying. Activate this ability only if you have 7 or more life than your starting total. It's a pretty fun card. Seasoned Howlblade is pretty insane. It does a lot of work. Just a 3/1 that you can give indestructible by discarding a card is always something your opponent has to respect. Basiri's Acolyte is very good. 2/3 lifelink, put 2 counters on creatures you control. Falconer Adept is great. So I have a lot of cards competing for the 4-mana slot right now. And this is pretty tough. So it's between the Seasoned Howlblade and Falconer Adept. The 3/1 here is just so backbreaking to play against, as it is always threatening to protect itself and take trades. A pretty minimum cost too. Selfless Savior is a 1/1. You can sack it to give indestructible. 3-mana 2/1 non-creature spells cost 1 more. It's kind of cute. Daybreak Charger is actually very, very strong. It's 2-mana 3/1 that pumps something by 3 power when it enters the battlefield. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. The 5-mana kill spells are quite a bit worse in this format, simply because decks go off so quickly. So I'm going to separate out a couple cards that I'm not sure are being played yet. Azura is a pretty fun extended format card, but not good in draft. 5-mana 3/3 when it dies creates a 2/2. I might pick up a Finishing Blow at this point. The 2-mana 2/2 is actually something that might end up in the deck as a curve filler, but I won't pass up a 5-mana kill spell. Nothing else in this pack is super intriguing, so that's fine. Animal Sanctuary, tap for 1 colorless, pay 2, tap, put a +1 counter on target bird, cat, dog, goat, ox, or snake. Kind of fun. Pay 2, each opponent loses 2 life. Activate if a creature died this turn. Twin Blade Assassins. It's funny, it's a great card. 5/4, beating your end step if a creature died this turn, draw a card. You just almost never want to be in green-black. It's not a very well-supported archetype here. Anointed Chorister. I always want to say Coister. Pay 5 mana, give it +3/+3. It's a 1/1 lifelink. Always solid, always a threat later in the game. Definitely something your opponent has to respect, and goes with the theme of lifelink. Legion's Judgment. Destroy creature with power 4 or greater. 5 mana, 3/5, pay 2. Put a card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. Seems kind of silly. Lofty Denial. I actually like quite a lot. Crypt Lurker. You may sacrifice a creature if you do discard a creature, or discard a creature card if you do draw a card. It's kind of cute. It's an okay spell. Judgment might make the deck here. I think Lofty Denial is just a much better card. And if I keep getting past good blue cards, I might pivot a little bit. I'm not a fan at all of Sanctuary of the Tranquil Light. 6 mana to tap creature. Discounted by 1 for each shrine, so it's 5 mana if you control this shrine. Is not nearly good enough. Witch's Cauldron is a very solid card. Revitalize goes pretty well. Becomes a 3 mana, gain 3, deal 3 cantrip. Which is pretty solid. I think with 2 Indulging Patricians, I could commit to this like weird gaining life cantrip style of play. It's a pretty interesting win con. Also, like, people should be passing Revitalize pretty cheaply. Or pretty often, I mean. As it's not a high value card. 2 mana 1/3 flyer is pretty solid. I do like this counter spell, but in double blue, there's very unlikely I'll be making that card work. So 2 mana 1/3 is pretty much just a curve filler and a good blocker on the ground. Despite missing that first pick, this deck is turning out pretty well so far. Short Sword I like in the aggressive style of decks. Return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. Unsubstantiate. It's really solid. I'm seeing a lot of powerful blue here. Really solid card. The 1 mana 1/3 is arguably worth running. And we get past a Falconer Adept. So white is incredibly open in pack 1 and 2. For cards that good to be seen this late. And card quality is looking very, very good. I'm almost tempted to take the dual land here just in case I want to end up splashing green. 3 mana 2/1 flyer. At this point, it probably helps me more than my opponent. But I'm still a little bit cautious about running that card. The best card in this pack is probably Thrill of Possibility. Though I'm very unlikely to run that card. I'll take the blue-white land here over another Celestial Enforcer. Defiant Strike is a fine cantrip, but fixing my mana base could be very, very good. 5 mana 3/5, 2 mana 1/3, tap for a colorless mana, spend only on instant or sorcery. And a counter spell. Okay. Take this shock. I might have been right to take the shock. Terror of the Peaks. Oh my god. 5 mana 5/4 flyer. Spells your opponent's cast at target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life to cast. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. Frickin' insane. Insane card. Double red. There's no way I can pivot to be in double red at this point in the draft. But that is a hilariously good card. Oh, wow. And there's nothing really else in the pack that I want here. Like, the Acolyte is pretty good. Lifelink, synergy, putting 2 1/1 counters. But I think I just have to take Terror of the Peaks and see if I can make it work. I don't think it's going to be in the deck. But that card is freaking amazing. It's one of the best cards they printed in the set. So maybe it's worth forcing. Face Feather is pretty easy. Control spell. Still a little bit lacking in answers. but I'll pick that up, no problem. No problem at all. Gale Swooper, Staunch Shieldmate, Mind Rot, possibly. Kite Sail Freebooter. I think it's just the best card in this pack. Mind Rot I like quite a bit. It's a high payoff card, but if you draw it too late in the game, it just does nothing. Freebooter is very solid. Thieves Guild Enforcer is a 1/1 with Flash. It's a rogue synergy card, but they didn't actually print many rogues in the set. Pestilent Haze I think is actually a main deckable card. It's a lot weaker in my deck because I have pretty low toughness creatures. But there's lots of aggro decks in the format that this card just blows out. I don't think I'm going to be out aggroed though. I have pretty defensive creatures and a good amount of life gain. I'm going to take a dual land here. Smooth out the curve. Dub can be extremely good, especially with early flyers, but it's a heavy investment onto one creature. Another Rousing Reed. I'm so tempted just to take this card in Splash Blue. Rousing Reed is insanely good. It is insanely good. Dub's a high payoff card, but also pretty risky to play. There's nothing else too good in here. Honestly, the Scoured Barrens is probably my second pick in that pack, and then followed by the Dub. And bit of a dead pack here. 2 mana 1/3. Whenever source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Pyreling gets +1 power, gains double strike. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Experimental Overload, really good in the red-blue Spells Matter deck. As is Frost Breath here. I have 28 cards here. Not all of them are playables, but I'm pretty set. I'm going to take another dual land. See if we can make 3 colors work here. Sanctum of Calm Waters, I think is quite a bit worse than a lot of the other draw spells in blue. I'll pick it up because nothing else here seems very good. 1 mana 1/2, tap, sack it, target opponent discards a card, activate only anytime you could cast a sorcery. Toss that in the sideboard there. Rookie Mistake, green-black land. Sanguine Indulgence might be worth running a one of. This is the deck for it. Helps you win those attrition matchups pretty well. And another Enforcer. May not make the deck. I'm going to be doing... Ooh. There's my red-white land. To try and splash for Terror of the Peaks. Could be quite interesting. I'm going to have to read through chat here at the end of the draft. I just can't make picks in time and do that. So I'm loving the land base here. Pretty great fixing. Duress I like. Creature gains +1/+1 and your choice of Death Touch or Lifelink. Is a good combat trick. Okay. What are you telling me to pick up? Make the Falconer fly is great. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, I know. I know, Stefan. Glad to have you here. Okay. Counter target instant or sorcery unless its controller pays 3. This is insane to me. This seems like heavy constructed worthy. But I'm going to have to start cutting everything but the absolute playables from the deck. So I'm sitting at 43 cards right now. I didn't end up with much of a late game here. So it's pretty weak. Flash card. I'm not playing that much blue. I'm basically just playing Rousing Reed for the flying and card draw. I like Gift as a combat trick. I think it's pretty nice. It's funny I only saw one Revitalize. Or at least only one caught my attention during that draft. This is just entirely a flying deck that races the opponent, which is kind of fun. I have like... Okay, so to support Indulging Patrician, I have Revitalize, Anointed, Chorister, not Coister. Alchemist Gift can give something lifelink. But beyond that, I'm just hitting in for high power creatures pretty much. Got one Blood Glutton. Blood Glutton. Yeah, it's a pretty simple game plan here. I'm loving this mana base. Picking up 4 dual lands just to make everything happen was pretty solid. And I have enough removal and enough interruption to make the deck pretty solid. I could be running like miscasts, and there's another good counter spell here, Lofty Denial. Just like get a couple flyers down and counterspell any interaction my opponent tries to do. I would probably cut the Wingmare. He just dies to too many things. It hurts quite a lot if I play this on turn 3 and then turn 4 it gets shot down by a skeleton. I think that's something that would happen quite often. So maybe I cut one of them and put in either a Lofty Denial or a Miscast. This is probably a little bit better. I have 3, 4, 5 blue sources right now. 3 blue cards. 6, 7, 8, 9 white. And I have 3, 4, 5... how many black? 1, 2, 3, 7 black sources. And even black is more of a splash. I'm liking this quite a bit. The Enforcer pretty much just acts as removal as well. This is a fun little beater deck. I feel like this is something that you would draft, Stefan. Just like lower the ground flyers, life gain. Cut the black, you don't have enough lifelink synergy, just go straight blue-white. I could. Alchemist Gift, Kite Sail, Finishing Blow, Blood Glutton. The reason I'm not really... Oh, and both Indulging Patricians. So the reason I'm not considering cutting black here is because it's pretty easy to support with 3 dual black lands. I don't think it's hard to make that work. And the replacements for these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards are probably not too great. I'd probably be cutting in like that's 3, 4, 5, and I would need like 1 more card. Roaming Ghostlight is quite a bit better than what I'm running here with than the Blood Glutton. 9 lives could actually be a fun card, just to extend the game a little bit longer. Terror of the Peaks, man. Spells your opponent's cast at target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life, 5 mana, 5/4 flyer. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. I wish I could justify running this card, and it is an absolute bomb. It's an insane card. But I can't really manipulate the mana that much. I do have a single Windscarred Crag. So I like the Patrician quite a lot. I like Freebooter quite a lot. If I were to cut cards, it probably is right to run a single Roaming Ghostlight in here. Finishing Blow is a little bit slow. Gift is an okay counterspell, or not counterspell, an okay combat trick. I suppose I would cut Revitalize as well if I was to take black out of the deck. I would cut a single Enforcer here. And then last cut would probably be Miscast. Miscast is so good. All right, second round of changes. I was pretty confident, but you made me consider other things. Blue, white, and have a single red to put in Terror, but the problem is that Terror is a double red spell. And in order to cast this consistently, I think you need like 7 or 8 red sources. The responsible way to splash one color is with 4 sources. So I'd have to run quite a few different lands and cut my 3 drops, which are, I think this is like one of the most powerful parts of the deck. Just a 3 mana 1/4 flyer lifelink, even without the life gain synergy attached to it, is one of the strongest cards that I'm running here. But I'm happy with this. I think I have enough lifelink to trigger Patricianer often enough, maybe like once or twice during a game. But it's just the little bit of extra damage that I need to close out the game. I'm not really trying to win solely through this. It's more that I'm just trying to have that extra bit of damage to close out the game. But I'm pretty excited. Yeah. Oh yeah, Face Feathers gains 3 life when enters the battlefield. So yes, that also triggers the Patrician turn 3/4. Turn 3 into turn 4. So yeah, that's a solid pickup with that card. Becomes 4 mana, tap something. I believe it loses abilities, gain 3 life, and then if this is in play, the opponent loses 3 life. So it's 4 even, which is pretty great. Can't attack or block, loses activated abilities. Pretty solid. So if I count up synergy with this card, I have 2 here, 3 with Revitalize, 4 with Anointed Coister, 5 with Blood Glutton. So yeah, 5 cards that'll activate this. A 2 of in a 40 card deck is pretty consistent too. I can kind of expect to have this most games. It's kind of a shame they didn't print life gain. Oh, I did. So all of my lands gain life too. There we go. I'll have the tiny bit of extra math. Yeah, I totally missed this too when I picked up the lands. But that's quite a bit better. Okay. This is cool. The blue-white Flyers deck isn't something that I usually aim for drafting M21. It's legit, but usually like if you're in one of those colors, it's better to splash differently. Like if you have strong white cards, you're often better off in white-green. The +1 counter synergy is pretty amazing there. And then, yeah, if you have really good blue cards, you want to be in blue-green or blue-red. They're kind of the top 2 decks there. Aerial Bilkin. Okay, so I have all colors of land. I have really aggressive hand to start, which is pretty sweet. I also have 0 volume in Arena right now, so I'm going to have to fix that. Kind of unnerving when you can't hear anything. Kind of unnerving. And I think it's because my stereo just turned off, because it does that sometimes. Okay, I drop second white source. Pretty open what I can play here. I'm just going to throw down the 3-1. It's the most aggressive card. And I definitely have cards to discard. So I'm going to have to watch to see what kind of removal my opponent's using. I can't protect this from exile. Solid hit. Keeping aggressive. And we'll get down to second blue source. I'm going to hold on to a few lands this game, so I can trigger this a couple times. Destroy. So we can drop a blue land, protect our guy from the kill spell. Be pretty well off. It's so amazing that this card doesn't have a casting cost. Llanowar Visionary, 3 mana 2/2, draw a card, tap for mana. Pretty good. I don't really mind trading the 2/2 in for that card. So I'll just attack with everything. And he's going to take all the damage. I could leave one blue open. I guess I have double blue here. It's hard to say how many lands I want to keep. The deck wants to hit 5 mana. That's kind of where as high as I need to go. So I'll hold one land back, and then if I draw any more, those will be fodder to the discard effect. Valorous Steed, 3/3. When it dies, create a 2/2 knight. Oh, when it enters. Okay. I always thought that was a death trigger. Alright. So I can tap something down. If I play a flyer, I can tap something down through Enforcer, which is quite a bit better. I think I hold on to Faith, Feathers. There isn't a lot that I'm worried about right now. So I'll drop my flyer, tap down my opponent's 3/3, and then stay on the aggressive attacks. He's going to block with the token, but that's kind of fine. So I trade off for like 1/3 of his 5-drop. But I don't want to use Face Feathers until I at least have either the combo piece with it or a more important creature to kill. I'm not worried about my opponent racing me. Yeah, putting down the plains was the right choice. Life gain. No. My nemesis. Oh, and he has the flyer. Fun stuff. So 1/1 you can sack to give indestructible is not really much of a problem for this deck. So I'm considering just tapping down the flyer and getting in for the 4 damage. Means he can block on the ground. But that's always going to be the case. It's tapping a card to get in 1 more damage. I could tap on his combat and do almost the same thing, but I can only do it once this turn if I play my other Enforcer. Yeah. So it's almost guaranteed that my opponent is going to block this with something. So I don't really mind if he blocks with a 3/3 and gives it indestructible. So I'll just get through in the air for the 1 damage. Indestructible, my guy. Discard a land. Now, if I ever draw a Rousing Reed, this card becomes insane. I think that was a pretty poor use of protecting a creature. For some reason, I was thinking I had 5 mana, but it's because I discarded the land. So, that's okay. That is okay. So he's trading 6 damage turn now. And I can tap down whatever body he plays. Oh, haha, that's cute. So tapping is part of the cost here, so I can't just pay 2 to do it. So we're kind of at parity now. If I continue to race him, I think this is worth a Faith Feathers at this point. Just because there's no way to cleanly deal with that card. Yeah, I'm gonna Faith that dude. So I gain 4 life, which helps with the race. I get to hold a blocker back and swing in for 4 damage. If he blocks me, I will discard the other Enforcer. I don't have the mana to use 2 of them a turn anyway. No blocks. Still quite a bit of mana, 4 cards in hand. Taking the 3 damage. What's it gonna be? He probably has some massive green creature. Like the 5/7 Vigilance, draw 2 cards if you target it. He's thinking really hard though. 2 mana 2/1. I pretty much win this game off of a Rousing Reed. I do pretty well if I draw the 1/4 lifelinker. He's gonna exile him. Wow. So 5 mana exile onto my 2-drop. It's pretty amazing. And now I draw this. So I'm gonna have to start tapping down my opponent's turn. So I'm gonna keep 2 mana up. Use the cantrip now. See what I can draw into. There's Rousing Reed. So next turn I can get on the aggressive again. And no attacks this turn. I can be on the aggression. I probably should have done this pre-combat. So it looks like he has a trick of some kind. If he has a trick, I can let him play it and counterspell it. And double block the 3/3, but I don't think I want to double block here. Griffin Airy, 2 mana. Beginning of your end step. If you gain 3 more life this turn, create a 2/2 white Griffin creature. That's what I needed in this deck. Oh my god. That's what I needed. So now I'll counterspell any life gain he plays, if I can. But he can do it at instant speed is the problem. At the beginning of your end step, so he won't gain a flyer if he tries to gain life now. Ooh, beautiful. Okay, so he's nothing in the air. I can swing in for 4 damage. But I can't play another card this turn if I do. So I probably look for a land, casting Rousing Reed. And threaten lethal. Or I just cast Indulging Patrician and leave open 1 mana for a counterspell. He swings back with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. He has 1 card in hand. Yeah, I think I go for the win. If I target the Celestial, I won't be able to tap down his flyer next turn. So even though it's slightly more damage, Weatherlight, or the Ghostlight is really, really good. So I'm going to discard Enforcer. Get my planes down. Deal 3 in the air. Now I can tap down 1 flyer on my opponent's turn, 1 flyer on my turn, or just bounce it with the Ghostlight. And hopefully have lethal. I also have 1 mana open for a miscast. Another Steed. It's pretty good. Looks like I have this in the bag. All right. That single Rousing Reed. That's all it takes. That card is insane. The card is insane. So, pretty happy with that. I think Gale Swooper would probably be the card that gets cut if there was something else I wanted to add in. 9 lives is kind of tempting just because it helps race. Or even the Wingmare. Or a double red Terror of the Peaks. Man. If I had pulled that... It was pack 3, right? I think it was pack 3. Where I pulled Terror of the Peaks. What a card. Make sure the stream health is good here. So a double black land. There is no way I can keep that. For land hand, pretty solid though. It's actually kind of tempting to drop Ghostlight and just guaranteed be able to play this turn 3-4. But playing the odds, I'm more likely to pull a land. In 4 draws, there's an insanely high chance that I get a 4th land. Mariquijanus? I feel like this is some weird spelling of marijuana, but can't quite make that out. So, white aggro misses his 2-drop. It's a good sign. Red-white. It's a good thing I'm equipped to fight that deck. So it's tempting just to drop the Freebooter. This card does take trades very well, but it's also very likely it gets killed by a combat trick. But I'll play proactively and force my opponent to have an answer. But blocking in the air now is going to be really risky. Yeah. All he needs is the first strike spell. And it's enough damage no matter what I block here. I think I'm actually going to take 3. Losing the Patrician right now. Man. That's tough. Alright, I'm going to force him to have it. Or I just play Kite Sail next turn. Alright, I'll take 3 damage now. I'll take the 3. He's got a weird... Oh, 4 lands. So if I drop Freebooter, I can see my opponent's hand and then actually know for sure whether I'm vulnerable to a combat trick, or I just throw down the 2/3 flyer. And I don't mind as much if I lose this to combat. One more mana would make this choice a lot easier. But yeah, it's just too weak on tempo playing this down. So I'll drop the Falconer Adept. And I'll probably make 2 blocks next turn. Hand, hand, hand. With a Freebooter. I honestly don't think he's winning this race. One more land, I can bounce the weird. He's still leaving open the 3 mana. I get a 1/1 flyer for attacking next turn. Which is an excellent chump blocker. Yeah, I could have stopped a Spellgorger trigger. It's just a little bit weak throwing down a 2/1. The other option here is double blocking, but I think I get blown out doing that. I'm gonna let this go through. So I should have attacked on the previous turn to gain the life. Kind of swapping game plans here. And he plays nothing. That's actually amazing. Okay, I will drop this now. So he has Scorching Dragonfire. I don't get my 1/1. Creatures you control get +2 power, or dub, chant creature, +2/+2 first strike. So Burning Bright, I can still take a trade when he plays that. Take dub out of his hand. And now I'm totally okay blocking. He can pump this to be 4 power, so I will need to answer that eventually. I'm really hoping for a land draw. Because Roaming Ghostlight is the best way to answer a weird. Swings in with everything. So he can +2 power. But I basically have to start blocking. Or else I would take 5, 5, 9, 12. Lets them all die. Now I'm in a really good position if I hit a land. Oh, it's a tap land. Almost guaranteed I have to chump block this guy. So he has dub back. And next turn I can bounce this guy. Then I'm doing all right. Kills off the enchantment. This is what I was hoping for, just to stabilize. And I'll probably just play Glutton down and trade it off for the weird. Or 3 mana, 2 mana to tap is actually really effective too. But this will have Summoning Sickness, so I can't do it on that turn. The weird is just good enough that Faith Feathers might be the right play. It's either I trade it for a 5-drop lifelink or I trade it for a 4-drop. But it does force him to have the spell. So I think I'll gamble on whether or not he draws an instant to pump it, and then if he does, I'm okay with trading that off. Oh, nice. Okay, so still sitting at 5 mana. He didn't have the spell that turn. And I'm just going to load up the board rather than casting any of these right now. Just tapping down the weird every turn is a much better answer than spending Faith Feathers. Even though I have 2 in hand. I could... The other play would be tap down the 3/4 and swinging with both, which is pretty good too. Gain 4 life, deal 7, go to 11. Yeah. I actually might like that better. And I gain 4 life again, so that's 8 life gain. So he showed me last turn he didn't have an instant in hand. Double weird. Scary stuff. Ooh, that's pretty good. Okay, so I'll get down my Enforcer. Drop down Savior. And now if he has a way to pump this, I can just block. Oh, wow. I can Indestructible whatever would die. But it's still better for me to attack. Completely turned around that game through lifelink. So he could like double block combat trick or a single block combat trick, but it wouldn't be enough to turn the game around. Good stuff. It's getting kind of dicey there in the middle. But this deck definitely has potential to just gain life and pull yourself out of those aggressive matchups. Pretty good. Clean first 2 wins. Let's see how far we can take this run. Do another check of the stream status here. It's funny, the recommended bitrate to play a stream at is 3,500 kilobytes per second. But then the YouTube service recommends you use 4,500 kilobytes per second, which is way higher than the minimum that you actually need. Can you tell me, Stefan, if the stream is choppy at all? If there's any lag going on? Oh. Pretty good opening hand. All 3 colors of mana again. Playing against Infect 3D. Whoa. 3 dimensions of infection. That's a weird one. Opens with a blue source. Get down an early flyer. So turn 3 is definitely going to be Mr. Patrician. Which is just at a range of Dragonfire, which is pretty nice. Stream looks good. Alright, I had to use a different internet solution because my wireless adapter I don't even know what's wrong with it, but it's been acting up terribly since yesterday. So I rigged up a landline connection for today. Whenever you attacks, draw a card. Is a problem. Is definitely a problem. So I'll have to try to block it with the Enforcer and hope our opponent doesn't have an answer. But holding back 3 blockers would just be too much of a loss of tempo. My worst nightmare there is he plays Rousing Reed onto the Library Larcenist. Becomes a 2/3 flyer and draws a card. So our opponent has a 2/2. Still haven't hit that mana. I could tap this down and swing in. He has 1 mana open to cantrip, so we could have Opt, or there's a couple 1 mana spells, but Opt is the big one to pump his guy with prowess. So I think I'm going to go with the safe bet of attacking in just with the 1/4. And I could even attack in with the Enforcer as well. If I plan to throw down my little Watchdog, which I kind of do. Yeah, I think that's okay. So he could opt turn this to a 3/3, a block kill the 2/3. Yeah, I'll play it safe here. And I think leaving open the mana to tap down his guy is actually a little bit better than playing a Watchdog. He doesn't win the race by pumping and swinging in for 3 damage. Alright, I've convinced myself. Go for the proactive play. Hope for 4 mana. It's very likely he bounces one of my cards. There's a couple different ways that blue can bounce creatures in this set. He could attempt to sticky tap a couple of my guys. There's the Rousing Reed. So now this is a prime target to hit with Faith Fetters. There's no prowess here, so we'd have to use 1 more combat trick. To kill my blocker. So 2 blue still open. I could be hit by a counterspell. But I think I have to risk that. Yep, he has the Lofty Denial. Okay, so no amount of blockers in the air really protect me here, but I can attack anyway. Larcenist into Rousing Reed into Counterspell is really, really good. And this is where Mono Blue just kind of has a similar game plan, only they do it better. Sitting on a single blue source. He isn't actually winning the trade or the race here. I can at least tap this down next turn if I leave 2 mana open, but that means I'm not playing the Blood Glutton. But Patrician is still a pretty good play. So attack in with the 2/2 Vigilance and leave open 2 blockers in the air. I'm still losing card advantage, but he's not winning the race. His card quality probably is a little bit better than mine in the late game. The problem is, like, if he's drawing a card every single turn off this, it's almost impossible for me to come back from that. So it goes to combat. Tap down the 2/3. I could have gotten a Patrician trigger by attacking with the Blood Glutton once. So he would have died to a trade. Okay, so now he can pump both of these. So attacking in is probably not a good option here. He left open 3 mana and played 1 creature. Yeah, attacking is pretty bad right now. The question is whether I need to tap down my opponent's guy next turn or develop my own creature. And I think I have to develop a creature. So it's going to be the 5-drop. So no counterspell. Or he didn't want to use a counterspell. Frost Breath is pretty good. So he can deal quite a lot of damage, but it's not... the damage isn't much of a threat. It's more about who gets more value on board. Three, 6, 8 damage, he draws 1 card. Getting a second blue source is really important right now. Weird. So 4, 5, 6 mana, so I can see my opponent's hand. He's tapped out, so I know he's not going to combat trick me. If I leave open 2 mana, I can tap him next turn. I do really want to take a spell out of his hand, so I think I'm going to play this over the Falconer. Possibly. Ooh, Sublime Epiphany. Wow. Counter target spell, counter target activated triggered ability. Create a token that's copy a target creature, target player draws a card. 3 mana 2/3 haste, pay 1, another target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked. So he's holding on to a bunch of weenies. And I'll take the only spell out of his hand, which is pretty clutch. Without a way to pump his creatures, he doesn't actually have a good way to kill Falconer Adept when he attacks in besides double blocking. It's the card drop that's really wrecking me right now. I'll go to combat here. He doesn't have good blocks for the Blood Glutton right now, for any of these actually. So I can swing in for 6 damage. 4 of it being lifelink, and deal 3 off of Patrician. If I want to play Falconer this turn, I should attack in with the Enforcer. At which point I'm just basically racing my opponent. The card draw is brutal. I'm gonna be... Yeah, I'm gonna play this a bit conservative. Having a 2/3 on board or creating 1/1 flyer doesn't really change combat enough. Beginning of your end step. Go to end step. Like, all of his cards are enabled by drawing into spells. That's what's really scary right now. I heard you, Stefan. Keeping back the tapper. You know you're not fighting anyone for for your turn in the chat here. What spell is this? Turn to slag. Oh, that's bad. That's pretty bad. So he picked up the removal spell. +1 counter, +1, +1. Kills off the 1/4 flyer. And I'm gonna tap down the 2/3. I could prevent more damage or even double block by tapping down a different creature. He doesn't attack in with a weird. I could tap 2 creatures a turn with this down, which is not terrible. The second blue mana would be so amazing. Yeah, so I think my best hope is going to be on a future turn tapping down 2 creatures, then on my turn tapping down 2 creatures, and then finding lethal somehow. It's still a poor use of mana to do so. He's not running out of gas though. I can get 2 damage in here. Nobody is running out of gas. It's a bit hard because by tapping down his creatures, I'm not able to spend my own mana efficiently. Whereas he's going to fill up the board with like little dinky guys. I can start giving any of his creatures unblockable with this. Pretty cheaply too. Discard your hand till the end of turn. Whatever creature you control with power 2 or less deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Yeah, he has really good cards. Oh. And he has all the removal. He top decked 2 kill spells the last 2 turns. This is a really good card. Volcanic Geyser. So he gets back his 6 mana choose card. Oh, I passed 2 attackers. Whoops, I clicked too fast. So I'm going to take the pain here. But the cool thing is, I might have lethal. 2, 4, 6, 7 damage. So I tap down the 4/4. If I had a blue mana, I could have bounced this and swung for lethal. But now I'm at 4. He surrenders. He thought I had it. Oh my god. Oh my god. You have enough damage the next turn if I draw a blue. Yeah, I needed a blue source to bounce this guy. Otherwise, the best I could do is tap down 2 of his creatures, and I still think I'd die on the swing back. I accidentally bluffed the blue bounce spell with indecision. That's awesome. Okay. Oh my god. What a game. Yeah, 3-0. I'm so good. I'm an amazing Magic player. Sometimes it's all it takes. I haven't drawn Lofty Denial or Miscast, so I don't actually know whether they're effective cards in my deck or not. Man. Oh, that was so funny. 9 lives, like, could be good. I'm still debating running this card. When you get down to like 4 life there, you cast this and they need to hit you with 9 more instances of damage. But the problem is, like, life gain, drawing this early, it's just a dead card. In any game you're winning or at parity, it's a dead card.